Welcome back, Unslaved members. So good to see you. Happy New Year. We are officially in 2024, and what a year I think it's going to be. Couldn't think of a better subject to kick it off than getting into the Roman cult, talking about papal bloodlines. And we have a huge presentation for you today. This is going to be so good. We have Laura joining us. She's prepared some incredible research about the history of these bloodlines, what's going on at the Vatican, and how it connects to everything that's going on in the world, the subjects that Michael's been covering for decades, and I've been covering as well in my new documentary series. And we've talked a lot about on Unslaved, but I think we're going to be getting into some areas here that might be new for even those of us that are seasoned in this research. So I'm very excited. So Laura, so good of you to join us. Thank you so much for jumping on Unslaved with us. Welcome.
Nice to meet you, David. Finally, I watch your work. I read Michael's work for quite a while. I've done this research quite a long time, since 2016, 17. Ever since I started with the bankers, the health side, the technology side. But I always knew there's something more to it, because, the bankers can be the top. And now I found Michael's site, and I emailed him and just wanted his opinion about these papal bloodlines who run the Vatican. So this is how we ended up in this presentation.
That's right. Yeah, lovely. Thanks for joining us.
And if you have some questions, if not, we can start.
Well, maybe my only question is, and I like asking this of people, what was it that motivated you? What caught your eye with this? What was it about this particular subject that caught your attention and got you to do this level of research on it?
Oh, well, it's because I don't know why I searched this, because I knew I learned about them. I learned about the Borgias, the Medicis, and in school. So, but I never knew how cruel they are, and how much they own, and how can they manipulate the world right now. And ever since this whatever Agenda 21 came up, I just think that there is something more to it, and nobody covers this people. I don't know why. I sent this research to many, except Michael. Nobody wanted to talk about them. It's just the lower level people, the Windsor, the Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, and those.
The Rothschilds, the
Rothschild,
Rockefellers.
yeah,
Everybody hears about that.
Yeah, and this is it bothers me that the whole internet is about the Rothschild running the world, which is not true. And it's also, I found your work, and I found Michael's work, and I found Setica's work, so it's going even upper to the other realms, which, if people don't believe this, that they are evil people, they're not going to believe the other entities that exist. So
Right.
it's tough. So
Well,
I
that's
said,
good. And it's good of you, Laura, to do this and compile it. And so hats off to you for even noticing that there was a gap in this field. I noticed it as well. Even though, Michael, you've got interviews going back to like early 2000s, openly just talking about it, naming the names, going through it, showing the connections, even to the Windsors, the Bushes, etc., to some of these families, whether they're all biologically connected or as you've always pointed out, they could be ideologically connected, and that'd be good enough. But these, we got these Knights of Malta. We've done whole histories of those guys and the Templars and all of that. But maybe, Michael, before we jump into the slides, did you have a little bit you wanted to do to introduce this subject?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, kudos to Laura for that, because the Rothschilds are always been singled out. We know that there's a lot of anti-Semitism, and it's totally misguided. It's not to say that they don't play a role, but this is a hierarchical thing. I don't know when I first heard about it, but it might have been, with a book way back in the 80s I read called The Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop. And he referred to them as the Roman Circle or the Roman Cult. Mm-hmm. There's a book called Ireland and the Pope, which I've featured a lot on my Irish Origins premiums and in the Knights Templar premiums, where he also uses that phrase, you see. So again, focusing on that. But of course, it has pagan roots long before Christianity, and before the 4th century. It was already something going on in that area with the cult of Mithra, and that comes from Persia. So there's a lot of tie-ins there. There's the cult of Orpheus, which was kind of a unusual aggressive cult that threatened to overthrow the status quo. A lot was going on at the birth of Christianity, and Christianity then took over a lot of these pagan cults, like the cult of Mithra, Sol Invictus, and the cult of Orpheus, not to mention a lot of Egyptian gods and whatever. So this thing grew hideously. And, that's what we want to talk about, sort of the world control aspect, because it immediately starts suppressing everyone. And then when it couldn't fight an external enemy, they started fighting amongst themselves, butchering each other, right up to the Council of Nicaea and onwards. There was internal fighting, a lot of purging. Constantine and his people, they purged anyone who wouldn't toe the line of the new doctrine. It's really unbelievable. There's ties to Mohammedanism, which a lot of people don't realize how involved the Pope was of the time in the formation of what later became known as the Islamic faith. There's connections there that have not been really explored by people. There's the suppression of Ireland, which is my big subject, trying to honor my mentors. And this goes on not from the 11th century or 10th century. You'd have to go back beyond what most scholars talk about, right to the very 4th, 5th century, where the Vatican was already moving to destroy the Celtic Church. And that's an entire subject, that we also could get into one day. Hopefully we will. But I wrote about it extensively in the Irish Origins books and on the web. And then, we can, Laura's brought some slides for her thesis. We're glad to be able to introduce her and her work. Maybe we won't get it all done in 2 hours, but, we'll have you back on, so that no need to rush. We'll always have, back on to continue this, hopefully more than even once. So, let's see what we've got there on this subject with the slides. Maybe you can introduce a few of them or just give us an introduction there, Laura.
Yeah. Like the reason because I read your work to connect, and why I wrote you is because you mentioned about the Athons and the lion, and most of the coat of arms. This is what I want you quickly, a couple of families for you to see. It seems to me like I wonder if they are connected to, because they live in Switzerland, many of these, and they have certain imagery which is very similar to your work, like the coat of arms. And there are also a couple of families that are visible. You can find their sites, and there are families who are invisible. You don't have any sight of them, and those one I want to mention for people because they don't know, and they don't even believe that they exist. And it's connected with the Rothschilds as well. It's connected with the Parthia you mentioned, and also that work about the fourth sect. So it's connected. So two families come from Persia, from Parthia, Pallavicini and Aldobrandini. Very interesting. And they're hiding behind the scene, and they're running the Vatican. And these families, like the subject is huge because they deal with the mafia especially, and they're connected. I didn't even put the minions because I'm going to have 1,000 slides then. And I did separate 3 presentations about their secret societies. Of course, all of them are Knights of Malta. And wow. Order of Constantine and order, all kinds of order. So those slides, I also send it to maybe later on for David to see, because it's a huge subject. So here in this one, I just put how many popes they had, what coat of arms, a little bit about their history, and what they run, what kind of mafia, how they interconnect. So I have the families here and the slides, how they connect. So we're going to be jumping probably through the slides because it would be boring to read from the bottom to the end.
Well, I love that you brought slides. You're well prepared, and that's great. And so what we'll do, Laura, is I'll pull up the slides and you just walk us through it step by step. You tell me which one you want to go. And Michael, obviously, if you have any questions or comments throughout, you just jump in. And other than that, we'll just sit back and let you present what you got for us, Laura. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So
So
just
here,
put the no, the first two are about the priests, because most of these families, they have priests and they have cults and they run. And there is a third slide. It has the whole bunch of them. Second, third, four more. Exactly the beginning. Yeah, here these were the papal bloodlines, like Borgia, Farnese, Colonna, Gaetani, Medici, Conti, Chigi, Aldobrandini, Orsini, and Pamphili. So the ones that are invisible are the Borgia. Of course, you're not going to find information about them because they say that they're extinct, but they're not. They exist. The Medici also, they opened the bank, so they kind of disappeared with the Madoff scandal. They came back. The Conti became Torlonia. The Chigi also joined with other families and became Chigi della Rovere. Aldo Brandini is married with a Rothschild. Orsini, probably you heard about. And Pamphili, Doria is again merged. And they also connected with the Ukraine and Russia, some of them.
oh wow.
So you can go on the next one. You're gonna see the whole like table of their names. Uh, this one, it explains what the Roman aristocratic families are. So they're actually the old aristocratic families of the Roman Empire. When the Rome divided in two, so some of them they left in Venice, and then Phoenicians joined, and then also there are other aristocratic families from Byzantium who are running the maritime law and the maritime, which I didn't include here because those are a bit lower level. Some of them, I mean, the Glücksburg family probably know, so he's running, but I didn't include. This is what I'm saying. They're so interconnected through marriage, to secret societies, through mafia, through everything. The next one, please. This is the explains. Okay, so Torlonia and Colonna, they're two main families because they run the Vatican. They have like they're papal princes assisting the Pope and the whole Vatican. They're running the whole show. They run the Causa Nostra, they run the Knights of Malta, everything. Not just them, but these are papal princes, and they still own palaces. It's like enormous wealth they have in Italy. And most of the information you're going to find on the Italian and Spanish sites. Next, please.
And sorry, I just want to come back real quick just to point out, and sorry for people watching, I have to kind of jump in and out here, but that red shield at the top with the keys and the triple crown, I mean, the symbolism is incredible to break down, but I just noticed that it's a red shield, and there's other, I think is it the Amalfi or some of those families that you mentioned, their crest is a red shield. And it's interesting how people compare the red shield to the Rothschilds. But I would say, and I wanted to know if you agree with me, that the Rothschilds adopted a much more ancient symbol. They were sort of recruited within this circle because we have some of the top Rothschilds who were members of the Knights of Malta. So that kind of gives away the hierarchy, right? And but that red shield that we hear about for Rothschild, it didn't originate with the Rothschilds, did it?
No, they actually they're under Torlonia. That's what I found, and they work with the Vatican. They gave loans, and they got money from the Jesuits. There are lots of orders. So I don't remember now exactly the name. Karl Mayer Rothschild was the one who made the deal with them in the 80s, 1800s, and also they keep going with the deals in 2018. So I put it's Torlonia who are running them, not just, but Habsburg. Like the Rothschilds are like this. One part is living in Switzerland. They are run by the Habsburg. So they are the court factors of the Habsburg. The Windsors, they have the English one. You know the what's his name? Don't remember now. Each and every, like they are five. One left in the Austrian Rothschild are run by Orsini family. So they're not running the world. Unfortunately, people are very mistaken about it. And there is also proof, and I put some pictures for people to see, not about the